Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Did you know that over 30% of Americans reported that they get inadequate sleep, meaning that they're getting less than 7 hours per sleep per night? What's interesting is that there is another statistic that is directly correlated to that, and that is stress and anxiety. It is reported that upwards of 30% of Americans at some point experience significant enough anxiety that it affects their day-to-day functions, including disrupting their sleep. So today I want to talk about different nutrients that can be beneficial for targeting anxiety, stress, as well as optimizing your sleep cycle. I'm Amanda Williams, MD, MPH, and when it comes to sleep, we know that this is important. We know we are supposed to be getting adequate sleep. That's the time when our body has the chance to really repair and recover from any of the day-to-day stressors that we put our bodies through. So whether that's emotional, physical stressors, any of the environmental things that we are exposed to, we need ourselves to have that opportunity to really bounce back and to thrive. And the way that they do that is through that restful period at night when we are sleeping. So if you've got over 30% of Americans who we know are getting inadequate sleep, and we also see that anxiety rates are on the rise in this country, then we know that we need to be doing things to address this. So this is where Tranquil Tx comes into play. The Tranquil Tx is a combination formulation that really helps to support the day-to-day stressors that we all face, as well as the nutrients that are needed when it comes to really allowing for our sleep cycle to take hold. And many people have the problem when it comes to maintaining sleep. So maybe you can fall asleep at night. Maybe you're so exhausted and you actually are able to fall asleep, but then you have a hard time maintaining sleep. Now, this is oftentimes generated because of those daily stressors not being managed properly. So this is why the nutrients contained in Tranquil Tx can be so incredibly advantageous. So let me run through this and talk about some of the science behind the nutrients that are in this formulation. So this is a combo of chamomile, and most people have heard of chamomile and having a little cup of chamomile tea in the evening before going to bed and how that can help to promote relaxation, and certainly this is true. And then this has Passionflower extract and lemon balm extract. Now, lemon balm is actually from the mint family. While the name indicates that it sounds more citrusy, it's not. It's actually from the mint family. And when you look at the scientific studies on these nutrients, it is hands down incredibly impressive. And so when we're thinking about that high rate of inadequate sleep and the high rate of anxiety, we know that our bodies are really needing something to yield that additional support. And this is where these nutrients come into play. So let me first talk a little bit about lemon balm. We know that lemon balm traditionally has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for targeting stress and anxiety and insomnia. Now, the way in which the lemon balm extract is actually working is through the promotion of the activity of our very important calming neurotransmitter, which is GABA. So if we have inadequate GABA release, we have more of a tendency for stress to take over. So this is why GABA is considered our calming neurotransmitter, because when this is released, it gives us this more relaxed state. Now, this is very important when we think about enhancing our mood and our perception of stress. The more GABA that we have flowing through our system, the easier it is for us to manage those day-to-day stressors. So we know that lemon balm has been shown in multiple clinical research trials to really lower anxiety levels. And at the same time, because of that involvement with GABA, this can help to promote better sleep. And at the end of the day, this is what we are actually going after. So let me tell you about a study. This was in the Medical Journal of Nutrition Metabolism, where they looked at the utilization of lemon balm extract in patients who were suffering from mild to moderate anxiety, along with the comorbid condition of having sleep disturbances. And as I mentioned, we know that the two certainly go hand in hand. And so through this research trial, they were able to show how the lemon balm extract had this ability to actually relieve stress-related symptoms. And they found that through its actions of remedying the anxiety, this actually helped to promote better restful night sleep. So this is a really great thing because we want to be able to target that sleep cycle. Now, the alternative is to do nothing and to continue to have unrestful night sleep. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel groggy and you feel like you're dragging all day, we want to avoid that. The other thing is to do traditional approach, which is taking sleeping medication. And we have all heard about the nightmare stories when people are prescribed sleep medications. So we want to avoid that as well. But yet we can look at something that's been around for hundreds of years and shown to be incredibly efficacious when it comes to managing stress as well as promoting healthy sleep. Now, you partner this up with chamomile extract. And when we think about chamomile, this is a really lovely way for us to, once again, be able to target many of the issues that can arise when it comes to the amount of stress that most Americans face on a daily basis. And the reason why people have so much stress, I mean, we can look at jobs, we can look at commuting to work, we can look at, familial issues, we can certainly look at, issues that are financial. So there are many different reasons as to why emotional stressors can definitely influence or impact the quality of sleep that we get. But then we can also look at, physical issues. We know that chronic disease states in this country are quite high. And so when we are dealing with issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, these are also areas that can really be detrimental to the quality of sleep that we get. Now, when we think about chamomile, this is a fabulous addition to the Tranquil Tx. We already know the power of the lemon balm. So even if it was just lemon balm by itself, great. But to add in the chamomile really helps to enhance the promotion of that calmness, as well as when we think about getting adequate sleep throughout the night. And there's a couple of different reasons as to why it is that the chamomile extract really has been touted as so beneficial throughout the years. As I mentioned, a lot of people will have chamomile tea, and this has long been looked at as kind of like a natural sleep aid. But what it is particularly about the chamomile is its bioactive component, which is known as apigenin. And it's the apigenin that is acting through this mechanism to help with that promotion of sleep. So the way that they have been able to determine this through clinical research trials is that apigenin in the chamomile actually resembles something in the brain, this orexin receptor. And so since this is an antagonist to that, the orexin receptor antagonist, this is how they have been able to show that the apigenin derived from that chamomile can actually help to promote sleep. So this is kind of goes back to that novelty of drinking chamomile tea. There is something definitely to it, and it is that bioactive component that is contained within the chamomile itself. Now we've got one more nutrient that is in the Tranquil Tx, and that is Passionflower. Now, Passionflower has certainly been studied similar to that of chamomile and that of lemon balm in terms of promoting restful night's sleep, as well as targeting anxiety. So let me tell you about a study that was done on Passionflower extract, and this was in the Complementary Journal of Medicinal Research, where they showed the active constituents contained within the passionflower had these calming effects. And the other point that was notated within this study is that it was very safe and effective. So people were not having any side effects that you see with the prescription sleep medications. So through this, they were looking at stress resilience. They were looking at different markers as to how you can see how someone is managing stress. And then they were also looking at sleep quality. Now, this was a study that they did for 12 weeks. And so through the addition of passionflower extract into the routine of people who had been diagnosed basically of having a severe form of anxiety, they categorized it as like nervous restlessness, where they really had a difficult time winding down and just remaining calm. And in the time frame to which they were taking that passionflower, they started to look at the improvements, and they were measuring these from week to week. They were looking at sleep disturbances. They were looking at their level of exhaustion. They were looking at their lack of focus and lack of concentration. And they found significant improvements as they were taking the passionflower extract. So it was shown in just this one study alone just how impactful passionflower can be in those dealing with serious levels of insomnia as well as serious levels of stress and anxiety. So we know that these are problems. The Tranquil Tx is so easy to use. This is a tinctured formulation. So this means it's a liquid. The way that you would utilize this is you would take one full dropper, not a single drop, but the full dropper, and you add that in with maybe 4 to 6 ounces of water, and you would have this. And you can have this throughout the day, because remember, this is unlike a pharmacological sleep aid. It doesn't mean that you're going to take this and then you're going to be sleeping 5 minutes later. What this is doing is it's working through that activation of those different neurotransmitters to create that sense of calm. So this is something that you can even utilize during the day. So if you are stressed out at work and you find yourself in the afternoon really feeling just not a lot of sense of ease, taking a full dropper of the Tranquil Tx, mixing that in with some water, excellent way to address this. And at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is regulate that stress so that stress does not carry on to become chronic stress, which is incredibly bad for our system. And we also want to get to the point where we are promoting healthier sleep cycles, because when we sleep is when we actually repair. And this is very, very important. So that is all that I have for you for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Invite Health podcast. Remember, you can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Now, do make sure that you subscribe and you leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health, and we will see you next time for another episode of the Invite Health podcast.